When people think of Russia, they often think of Moscow's Kremlin, St. Petersburg's Hermitage. But here's what they don't tell you. This massive country contains Arctic wilderness, where indigenous people still follow ancient traditions, subtropical beaches that rival the Mediterranean, and mountain villages so isolated they've preserved ways of life unchanged for centuries. There are cities built entirely on permafrost, deserts filled with wild horses, and rock formations that look like they belong on another planet. Today, I'll take you on a journey to uncover the true character of Russia. From the cliff tops where Buddhist temples dot European steppes, and where waterfalls plunge into canyons deeper than the Grand Canyon itself. Places that may seem beautiful at first, but behold, secrets few people know. Let's start our journey in the most extreme place imaginable. Murmansk stands as the largest city inside the Arctic Circle, home to over 300,000 people living in conditions that would challenge Antarctic researchers. But here's what makes this place absolutely incredible. During winter, the sun disappears completely for 2 months straight. Total darkness. Yet this city doesn't just survive, it thrives. During summer, the opposite happens. The sun never sets for 2 months, creating an otherworldly experience where midnight looks like noon. The northern lights dance across the sky with an intensity you'll find nowhere else on Earth. But Murmansk isn't just about extreme weather. This is a city of nuclear icebreakers, the only ships powerful enough to carve through Arctic ice year-round. These massive vessels, some powered by nuclear reactors, keep shipping lanes open when the Arctic Ocean freezes solid. The Alyosha Memorial towers over the city, a 35-meter monument to Soviet soldiers that's visible from everywhere in Murmansk. But it's the smaller details that reveal the real character of Arctic life. The monument to the cat Semyon commemorates a real cat who got lost in Moscow and somehow traveled over 2,000 kilometers back home to Murmansk. In the Arctic, even the cats are tougher than most. What struck me most about Murmansk is how normal life feels despite the extreme conditions. Children go to school in minus 30-degree weather like it's nothing. Businesses operate normally during the polar night using artificial lighting. People have adapted to an environment that would be impossible for most humans, and they've created a unique culture in the process. This is just the beginning. As we travel south from the Arctic, Russia reveals landscapes and cultures that become increasingly surprising. Moving deeper into Russia, we encounter places that feel like stepping back in time. Veliky Novgorod represents one of Russia's most important historical sites, but its significance goes far beyond typical tourist attractions. This city predates Moscow by centuries, and once controlled trade routes that connected Scandinavia to Constantinople. Novgorod Kremlin, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, contained the Sofia Cathedral, one of Russia's oldest stone churches. Built in the 11th century, its walls contain frescoes that witness the rise and fall of empires. But what makes Novgorod truly special is its role in Russian democracy. This city operated as a medieval republic where citizens gathered in popular assemblies to make decisions by majority vote. In many ways, Novgorod practiced democracy centuries before it became fashionable in Western Europe. The Vydoshlavlitsy Museum preserves wooden architecture that reveals how ordinary Russians lived for centuries. These aren't reconstructions or replicas. These are actual buildings, some over 500 years old, moved piece by piece to preserve them for future generations. Walking through these wooden houses and churches gives you an intimate understanding of Russian life that no textbook could provide. But here's where things get really mysterious. Throughout northern Russia, you'll find ancient settlements that challenge everything we think we know about early civilizations. The Manpupuna rock formations, known as the Seven Giants, rise up to 42 meters above the Ural Mountains. Local legends claim these stone pillars were once giants turned to stone by shamanic magic. Scientists offer a more conventional explanation involving millions of years of erosion, but standing among these monoliths, you understand why ancient people created supernatural stories to explain them. The formations are so perfectly arranged and dramatically shaped that they feel intentionally designed rather than naturally formed. These ancient mysteries extend throughout Russia, from Siberian petroglyphs thousands of years old to stone circles that predate Stonehenge. Russia contains archaeological sites that could rewrite human history, but many remain unexplored due to their remote locations and harsh climate. Here's where Russia completely destroys your expectations. Most people imagine Russia as endless snow and forest, but this country contains landscapes so diverse, they seem impossible within a single nation. Kalmykia, located in southern European Russia, features actual sand deserts complete with dunes and wild antelope herds roaming vast steppes. This region is also the only Buddhist majority area in Europe, creating a cultural landscape unlike anywhere else on the continent. Tibetan-style monasteries rise from desert sands, while European weather patterns create an environment that feels transported from Central Asia. The Altai Mountains, often called the Golden Mountains, represent one of the world's most pristine wilderness areas. This UNESCO World Heritage Site contains towering snow-capped peaks, pristine alpine lakes, and dense forests that stretch beyond the horizon. The Altai region offers more than just scenic beauty. This area preserves ancient spiritual traditions and contains some of the world's most important archaeological sites, including burial mounds that reveal connections between ancient civilizations across Eurasia. Lake Ladoga, Europe's largest freshwater lake, contains more water than all other major European lakes combined. Its 600 islands include the Valam archipelago, home to one of Orthodox Christianity's most important monasteries. The monastery complex, founded in the 14th century, represents a perfect blend of spiritual devotion and architectural achievement. Monks here continue traditions unchecked for centuries, while maintaining one of Russia's most beautiful garden complexes. But perhaps the most shocking landscape discovery is the Lena Pillars in eastern Siberia. These colossal rock formations stretch for kilometers along the Lena River, with some towers reaching 100 meters in height. Carved by millions of years of natural erosion, they create a dramatic landscape that looks more like science fiction than reality. The remote location means few people ever see them in person, but satellite images reveal formations that rival anything found in the American Southwest. What makes these landscapes even more remarkable is how they've shaped the cultures that developed around them. Each region created unique traditions, architectures, and ways of life, perfectly adapted to their specific environments. Deep in the Caucasus Mountains lies a secret that will leave you speechless. The ancient village of Dargovs, known as the City of the Dead, contains nearly 100 stone crypts built to look like miniature houses. These aren't just burial sites, they're time capsules that preserve a medieval way of life frozen in stone. Each crypt contains not only human remains but personal belongings intended to serve the deceased in their afterlife. According to local legend, during an 18th century plague outbreak, infected villagers voluntarily isolated themselves in these crypts to prevent spreading the disease to their families. Whether this story is true or not, the sight of these stone houses dotting the mountainside creates an atmosphere unlike anywhere else on Earth. But the Caucasus region holds even more incredible secrets. The village of Ushguli in neighboring Georgia represents one of the highest permanently inhabited settlements in Europe. But Russia's own mountain villages rival it for sheer impossibility. Places like Kharush in Dagestan sit at altitudes where most people would struggle to breathe, yet entire communities have thrived here for centuries. The Caucasus also contains some of Russia's most spectacular waterfalls. The Tabo waterfall plunges 70 meters into a narrow canyon, its power varying dramatically with the seasons. During spring snowmelt, the waterfall becomes a thundering cascade that can be heard for kilometers. In winter, it freezes into massive ice formations that create natural ice sculptures more beautiful than anything human artists could design. What makes these mountain regions truly extraordinary is how they've preserved ancient traditions that disappeared elsewhere centuries ago. Tower complexes like Dzeviv represent medieval defensive architecture that tells stories of clan warfare and ancient honor codes. These stone towers, some reaching 6 stories high, served as both homes and fortresses for families who needed protection from raiders and rivals. The engineering required to build these structures at such remote altitudes, using only local materials and primitive tools, demonstrates capabilities that challenge our assumptions about medieval technology and organization. Now here's where Russia reveals its ability to blend ancient heritage with cutting-edge innovation in ways that will blow your mind. Krasnodar Park, also known as Galitsky Park, represents one of the world's most ambitious urban landscape projects. Opened in 2017, this 27-hectare park showcases contemporary design that creates magical experiences, especially after dark. The park features intricate architectural elements, diverse plant collections, and innovative lighting installations that transform the space into a living artwork. The large Japanese lake with fountains and pedestrian bridges creates water displays that rival anything found in major world capitals. What makes this even more impressive is how quickly it was constructed and how it's completely free for public use. Sochi represents another modern marvel that challenges stereotypes about Russian climate and culture. This subtropical resort city on the Black Sea coast features palm tree-length promenades, sunny beaches, and a mild climate that feels nothing like the Russia most people imagine. The 2014 Winter Olympics infrastructure transformed Sochi into a year-round destination that combines beach resort amenities with world. Krasnaya Polyana, just a short drive from Sochi, offers world-class skiing with stunning mountain views in winter and incredible hiking trails through lush forests and alpine meadows in summer. The luxury mountain resorts here rival anything found in the Swiss Alps, but at a fraction of the cost. What's truly remarkable about these modern developments is how they integrate with existing natural landscapes rather than replacing them. Russian engineers and architects have learned to work with extreme climates and challenging terrains in ways that enhance rather than destroy natural beauty. The technology integration throughout these regions is surprisingly advanced. High-speed internet, modern transportation systems, and digital payment platforms create seamless experiences that rival major international destinations. You can use smartphone apps to navigate ancient fortress complexes or order food delivery to centuries-old buildings. This blend of old and new defines modern Russia in ways that most international visitors never experience. Russia's spiritual landscape contains some of the most profound and beautiful religious sites in the world, many completely unknown to international travelers. The Vala Monastery on Lake Ladoga represents Orthodox Christianity at its most sublime. This monastery complex, established in the 14th century, combines spiritual devotion with architectural mastery in ways that create transcendent experiences. The main Transfiguration Cathedral showcases Neo-Byzantine architecture with majestic domes and intricate frescoes that took decades to complete. But the monastery includes several smaller hermitages scattered throughout Valam Island, where monks pursue lives of solitude and prayer in settings of incredible natural beauty. These secluded chapels, surrounded by pristine forests and pristine lake shores, offer glimpses into spiritual traditions that have continued unchecked for centuries. What makes Valam particularly special is how the natural environment enhances the spiritual experience. The island's remote location, accessible only by boat, creates a sense of separation from worldly concerns. The combination of ancient architecture, pristine wilderness, and active spiritual practice creates an atmosphere that affects visitors regardless of their personal beliefs. But Russia's spiritual landscape extends far beyond Orthodox Christianity. The US-tiered Z monument in North Ossetia represents a spectacular fusion of ancient beliefs and modern artistic achievement. This massive equestrian sculpture emerges dramatically from a cliff face, honoring the Osean patron of travelers and warriors. The monument's scale and positioning create a sense of supernatural power that connects viewers to pre-Christian spiritual traditions. In Kalmykia, Buddhist temples and monasteries create spiritual landscapes that feel transported from Tibet rather than located in Europe. These communities maintain traditions brought from Central Asia centuries ago, preserving cultural practices that disappeared from their original homelands. The contrast between Buddhist architecture and European landscapes creates unique spiritual environments found nowhere else in the world. The Solovetsky Monastery in the White Sea represents another dimension of Russian spiritual heritage. This fortress monastery complex served various purposes throughout its history, from spiritual center to Soviet prison camp. Today, it stands as a testament to both the heights of human spiritual achievement and the depths of political oppression, creating a complex historical site that challenges visitors to contemplate difficult questions about faith, power, and human nature. Russia contains geological formations so spectacular they seem designed by science fiction writers rather than natural forces. Local folklore explains the river's stunning blue color as reflections of pure mountain skies and the spirits of the mountains themselves. While geologists offer more conventional explanations involving mineral content and light refraction, standing at the canyon's edge, you understand why ancient people created supernatural stories to explain such impossible beauty. The Ruskayla Mountain Park in Karelia showcases how human activity can accidentally create natural wonders. This former marble quarry, abandoned in the 1990s, naturally filled with groundwater to create the stunning marble canyon that serves as the park's centerpiece today. The high-quality marble quarry here was used in constructing significant architectural landmarks in St. Petersburg, including parts of the Hermitage and St. Isaac's Cathedral. But perhaps the most mysterious geological formation is the Inzergir Teeth Mountains, known locally as Inzerskia Zubchatki. The name translates to teeth, referring to the jagged, tooth-like peaks that characterize this part of the Ural Range. Local legends claim these formations were once the teeth of a giant who resided in the mountains before being turned to stone. The range consists primarily of sandstone, limestone, and granite, which creates striking color contrasts from light sandstone to deep browns and reds. These natural color variations, combined with the dramatic shapes carved by millions of years of erosion, create landscapes that photographers struggle to capture because they seem too fantastical to be real. What makes these geological wonders even more remarkable is their accessibility. Unlike many natural spokles that require extreme expeditions to reach, most of these sites can be visited by ordinary travelers willing to venture beyond the typical tourist routes. One of Russia's most shocking secrets is how it seamlessly blends vastly different cultures within its borders, creating unique fusion environments that exist nowhere else on Earth. Yoshkar-Ola, the capital of the Mari El Republic, perfectly exemplifies this cultural mixing. The city's name translates as Red City or Beautiful City in the Mari language, and its distinctive The Cathedral of the Annunciation and the Zarovokok-Shayethu Kremlin showcase how Russian Orthodox traditions blend with local multicultural elements. The cathedral serves as a spiritual center for the Russian Orthodox community, while incorporating architectural elements inspired by Mali traditions. Meanwhile, the Kremlin represents a modern reconstruction of the original 16th century fortress, now serving as a cultural complex that hosts festivals, concert, and historical reenactments. Kazan, often called Russia's third capital, represents an even more dramatic cultural fusion. The city seamlessly blends Tatar and Russian traditions in ways that create entirely new cultural expressions. The Kazan Kremlin houses both Orthodox churches and Islamic mosques, often within sight of each other, demonstrating how different religious traditions can coexist and enrich each other. The Kul Sharif Mosque, one of the largest mosques in Russia, was named after a revered Tatar religious leader who died defending the city against Ivan the Terrible in 1552. The mosque's reconstruction in the late 20th century symbolized the renewal of Tatar culture within the Russian Federation, creating a space where Islamic traditions flourish alongside Orthodox Christianity. But the cultural fusion extends beyond religious architecture. Tatar cuisine influences Russian cooking throughout the region, creating dishes that combine Slavic and Turkic traditions. The Kazan Wedding Palace, with its unique bowl-shaped design symbolizing family unity, represents how modern architecture can express traditional cultural values in contemporary forms. This cultural blending creates environments where visitors experience multiple civilizations simultaneously, gaining insights into how different peoples have learned to share space while maintaining their distinct identities. Russia's most remote regions contain landscapes and experiences that push the boundaries of what seems possible on our planet. The Kamchatka Peninsula, often called the land of fire and ice, remains one of Earth's last great wilderness areas. This volcanic wonderland contains active volcanoes, pristine forests, and some of the world's densest brown bear populations. The Klyuchevskaya Sopka volcano represents one of the most accessible active volcanoes in the world, offering hiking trails that lead directly to its crater. Recent eruptions in the 21st century remind visitors that they're walking on a landscape still being shaped by geological forces. The volcano's geothermal features include steaming fumaroles, boiling mud pots, and steaming vents that create otherworldly environment. The Three Brothers rock formations tell stories that blend geological science with ancient legends. These towering basalt sea stacks stand guard at the entrance to Avacha Bay, And according to local tradition, they were once giants who protected the bay from fierce storms. Their bravery was so immense that they were transferred into eternal stone guardians. The Spokojny waterfall, located near the Mutnovsky volcano, cascades 16 meters over dark volcanic rocks, creating stark contrasts with the dense greenery and rugged surroundings. The name Spokojny, meaning calm or peaceful, reflects the tranquil atmosphere that somehow emerges from this geologically active environment. But Kamchatka's most remarkable feature might be its isolation. Closed to outsiders during the Soviet era due to military installations, the peninsula preserved pristine ecosystems that disappeared elsewhere decades ago. Today, visitors can experience wilderness conditions that existed throughout Siberia before industrial development transformed most of the region. The peninsula's remoteness means that reaching many of its most spectacular sites requires helicopter transport or multi-day hiking expeditions. This difficulty ensures that Kamchatka's most beautiful locations remain uncrowded and pristine, offering experiences that feel more like exploration than tourism. What we've discovered today completely transforms our understanding of what Russia actually represents. This isn't just a country of snow and political headlines. This is a nation that contains virtually every type of landscape, culture, and experience imaginable within its vast borders. From Arctic cities where humans have learned to thrive in conditions that would challenge polar explorers, to subtropical beaches that rival Mediterranean resorts, Russia defies every stereotype and expectation. But perhaps the most important revelation is how these diverse regions have shaped unique cultures that blend influences from Europe, Asia, and indigenous traditions in ways that create entirely new forms of human expression. Russia's hidden gems remind us that our planet still holds countless secrets, waiting to be discovered by those brave enough to venture beyond the well-traveled paths. These places challenge our assumptions, expand our understanding, and reveal the incredible diversity that makes our world endlessly fascinating. What shocked you most about these incredible Russian destinations? Have any of these hidden gems inspired you to reconsider your travel plans? Let me know in the comments which location surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe for more adventures to places that will completely change how you see our world. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest discoveries. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll explore even more incredible destinations that most people never knew existed. We are so glad you are with us today. Please leave a comment, like the video to support us, and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.